Every year we see millions of new startups pop up. But the hard truth is, most of them won't make it 5 years. And you know what? The number one reason they die, it's probably not what you're thinking. It's got nothing to do with just bad luck or, not working hard enough. It's a totally predictable trap. And today we're going to break down exactly what that trap is and more importantly, how you can avoid it. So let's just put this number out there, 42%. That number right there, it's the whole reason we're talking today. A huge study from CB Insights found that 42% of startups shut their doors for one single devastating reason. And listen, it's not about running out of cash or getting crushed by the competition. Nope. This one mistake is a silent killer, and it takes down more companies than both of those things combined. And here it is. This is the big one. The number one reason startups die is they build something nobody needs. Just let that sink in. Think about what that really means. It means brilliant founders are pouring their time, their money, their energy, their whole lives into building a perfect, elegant solution to a problem that nobody actually has. It's just brutal. So what's the price tag for making this mistake? Well, here it is, $180,000. Research shows that's the average amount of money a startup burns through before they finally get a real signal from the market that, whoops, they built the wrong thing. Just imagine, that's so much time, so much opportunity, just gone. And I really want you to get this. That number isn't just some random piece of bad luck. It is the average cost of ignoring the market. It's a predictable and frankly, a preventable loss. It's what happens when you choose hope over hard evidence, when you choose your own conviction over real data. And what's worse, by the time most founders pay this price, the sunk cost fallacy has its hooks in so deep, it feels impossible to just walk away. Okay, so how on earth does this keep happening? These aren't dumb people, right? So many of these founders are brilliant. The problem isn't intelligence, it's the process. The failure is structural. It turns out even the smartest founders fall into a series of predictable traps that lead them right down the wrong path, even when they have the absolute best intentions. And here they are. These are the three big culprits. First up, we've got something called validation theater. This one is so dangerous because it feels really productive. Next, there's falling in love with a solution, a classic trap, especially for all you builders out there. And finally, mistaking interest for intent, which is where simple politeness gets tragically confused for actual market demand. All right, let's dig into that first trap because it's a big one. Validation theater. You know what this feels like, right? You ask your network, your friends, hey, what do you think of my idea? You count up signups on a landing page, it feels great. But what's actually happening? You're not validating a business, you're running a politeness test. You're measuring mild curiosity. People who like you are not going to crush your dreams. They're going to be nice. And that niceness is not real market validation. And this chart, wow, this really shows the problem in stark relief. Look at this gap. The data shows that a whopping 67% of founders say, yep, I've validated my idea. But when you actually look at what they did, only 23% of them did anything resembling structured, rigorous research. That huge gap you see, that's the validation gap, and that's exactly where startups go to die. And this gap is why most founders are just busy building the wrong thing. It leads right into those other traps. See, founders, especially you technical folks, have this bias to just build. You fall in love with the elegance of your solution before you even really understand the problem. You hear someone say, oh, cool, let me know when it launches, and you mistake that social courtesy for someone who's ready to buy. There's even research that shows failed startups write 3.4 times more code in the early stages. They're definitely busy, but they're busy building something nobody actually needs. Okay, so if that's the problem, what's the fix? What's the antidote? Look, it's not about just doing more validation, it's about doing better validation. It means you need a disciplined, structured way to think about the signals you're getting from the market. We need a hierarchy of evidence. So let me ask you a question, and I want you to really think about it. Is all evidence created equal? Is a nice compliment from your mom the same thing as a total stranger pulling out their credit card to pay you? Of course not, right? It's obvious. And yet, so many founders treat all positive feedback as if it's the same. And that, right there, is a fatal error. So this is the hierarchy that separates the pros from the amateurs. At the very bottom, level 1, the absolute weakest form of evidence is just opinions. A step up from that, level 2, is interviews, where you're actually exploring a customer's pain points. Better, but still not amazing. Then you have level 3, stated intent, things like an email sign-up, getting warmer. Level 4 is behavioral data. This is people actually using your product, coming back again and again. Now we're talking. But at the very top, level 5, the strongest evidence, the one signal that can't be faked, is a transaction. Somebody gave you cold, hard cash. Now check this out. Look at where most founders are getting their so-called validation. This is wild. It maps directly back to that hierarchy we just talked about. A staggering 58% of founders are getting their validation from asking friends and family. That's level 1, the weakest, most unreliable evidence possible. They are literally building their entire company on the shakiest foundation you can imagine. And look at the difference this makes. The results of getting this right aren't just a little bit better. They are transformative. We're talking about a massive success gap. Startups that just wing it, the ones that skip real validation, they've got maybe a 10 to 20% chance of making it. But the ones who embrace this discipline, their success rates jump to 60 to 70%. I mean, come on. This discipline is literally the difference between surviving and becoming just another statistic. You know, this kind of discipline is at the core of structured platforms that are literally designed to stop founders from wasting their time and money. And frankly, this is more critical today than it's ever been. Why? Because the cost of building something has absolutely plummeted, right? With AI and no-code tools, anyone can build. But the cost of building the wrong thing, that hasn't changed a bit. The new competitive advantage isn't about how fast you can build, it's about how deeply you know what to build. All right, we've covered a lot, but if you walk away with only one thing from this entire explainer, I want it to be this. There is one single question that can completely change everything for you. It can shift your whole approach from just hoping you're right to actually validating it. It's a question that forces you to stare reality right in the face. And that question is this: what would prove you wrong? Notice, I didn't ask, what would prove you right? We're all experts at that. It's called confirmation bias, and our brains are wired to find evidence that confirms what we already believe. The real challenge, the thing that separates the winners from the losers, is to get out there and actively search for the evidence that proves your core assumptions are wrong. And really, that's the whole ballgame. It all comes down to this simple idea: evidence, not opinions. Stop basing your startup on just your gut feeling or your own conviction. Base it on the hard evidence you collect from the market. Build your confidence from data, not from daydreams. This needs to be your mantra. Say it with me: evidence, not opinions. So here's what I want you to do. Start finding your evidence right now. Start treating every single one of your assumptions not as a fact, but as a hypothesis that needs to be tested. Remember, the goal isn't to be right. The goal is to find the truth before you run out of time and money. Now, if you want a structured way to get started with this, you can actually begin with a traction diagnostic over at yetevidence.com. But whatever you do, please stop hoping. Go find your evidence.